Hello, everyone. This is the TAMDUALT team, and our project is evaluating and showcasing the success of TAMDUALT's Social Innovative Students Program. I'm Catherine Bishop.
I'm Emma Hartzell.
I'm Marissa McGovern.
I'm Julie Pham.
And I'm Matt Sanford.
We worked with the Moroccan youth education organization, Association Jeunesse TAMDUALT pour la Culture et le Développement, also known as TAMDUALT, to assess the success of their entrepreneurship training program, the Social Innovative Students Program, SIS. Many factors contribute to the need for these kinds of entrepreneurship training programs, such as the high youth unemployment rate in Morocco and gaps in the education curriculum. As of 2019, only 26% of youth were in the labor force. In Morocco, higher education does not guarantee a job, as the unemployment rate of those with degrees is still 17%. Demographics also play a key role to opportunity in Morocco, with those in rural and southern areas disadvantaged in terms of financial status, education, and employment. Education programs focused on entrepreneurship provide youth with the tools necessary to create their own businesses and opportunities. TAMDUALT, located in southern Morocco, launched the Social Innovative Students Program in 2018 with this in mind. The program's goal was to introduce Moroccan youth to entrepreneurial and soft skills through a series of workshops and competitions. SIS ran through the May of last year, and TAMDUALT wanted to showcase the program's success by understanding its impact and analyzing its curriculum. Showcasing their program successes helps TAMDUALT to secure funding and establish credibility. With secured external funding, TAMDUALT can continue working on their mission to develop and create opportunities for Moroccan youth to improve and share with their communities. The goal of our project was to assess the SIS program and use that information to develop a marketing video about the program and a template for the evaluation of TAMDUALT's future programs. In order to achieve these goals, we established the following 4 project objectives. The first objective was to create a template for the evaluation of success factors in the SIS program. The second was to gather data that we could use to assess the success of this program. The third was to create a marketing video showcasing that success for future funders. Our last objective was to adjust the evaluation template for long-term use by TAMDUALT with their future programs. We will go into more detail on how we completed these objectives in the following slide.
The process we used can be looked at in 4 phases similar to the objectives. Initially, we self-researched evaluation techniques so that we could begin making our survey and interview questions, but it was a little bit difficult to decide which methods would be the best fit, which is why at the same time we were reaching out to interview with different non-governmental organizations that were similar to TAMDUALT and representatives from entrepreneurship programs. We were looking to learn from them about how they evaluate their programs, market their programs' successes, where their interviews and surveys fit in with different marketing strategies, and the tools that they use, such as social media. From our research, we decided that we would be interviewing and surveying past participants for the data collection phase. The surveys were more focused on gathering quantitative data, and the interviews were much more focused on gathering qualitative data. We also created and prepped a codebook before we began our data collection. We had hoped to interview 5 to 10 participants, and luckily we exceeded our goal and had 13 participants happily volunteer. This was not exactly the same case with the surveys. We aimed for around 100 responses, figuring that 100 out of 700 was a reasonable number, but we really struggled with this, and it took multiple reminders to get a total of 39 responses. We had our sponsor directly send the surveys out so that the participants wouldn't be confused and felt more comfortable or even more motivated to fill out a survey from someone that they know. For our interviews, we had 2 of our team members meet with 1 participant at a time over Google Meets. This was a bit of an adjustment for us since we were used to using Zoom. For the surveys, we ran into issues with translating the survey on Google Forms because we wanted to provide an Arabic version. So then we made a last-minute switch to using Qualtrics, which is another surveying website where at the beginning, participants had the option to choose which language they felt most comfortable taking it in. With both the surveys and the interviews, we were working with Arabic responses, but luckily our local coordinator, Ali, was able to organize translators to help us. Once we began the interviews and the survey responses started rolling in, we started working on coding our interview responses in the data analysis phase. We used content-based open coding techniques, which included identifying a theme for a question and then counting the number of responses that mentioned that theme. This helped us turn some qualitative data into quantitative data and made it much easier to draw conclusions. After this, we began working on our project deliverables. As Julie will talk about in more detail later in this presentation, we had two main deliverables, a video highlighting the SAS program and a manual with details for program evaluation. As a team, we split up working on these two for the sake of time, and Julie and I created the video together, and Catherine, Matt, and Emma made the evaluation manual. Matt will talk more about our findings in the next slide.
Here are some of the major strengths we found after our evaluation of TAMDUAL. One of the first strengths we identified within the SIS program was the balance between entrepreneurial skills and soft skills, both of which are important to succeed as an entrepreneur. From our interviews, we also found that 100% of participants agree that their interest in entrepreneurship grew during SIS. And based on our survey results, we found that 97.4% of participants agreed that SIS taught them skills that they did not learn in their traditional education. Additionally, many students described how SIS allowed them to expand their career network and learn about new opportunities. Multiple students were accepted into study abroad programs and credited SIS with helping them strengthen their applications. The students also enjoyed the community feel of SIS. The program became, to quote many interviewees, like a family. Following our evaluation of the project, we found that the pre and post program surveys provide reliable metrics for which areas of the program are stronger than others. Longitudinal studies or interviews taken at least a year following the program are a good way to see which aspects of the program had lasting effects on the students. However, it is important to compare these results to the pre-program surveys to make sure students gain information from the TAMDUAL's program and did not arrive with any prior knowledge, which would skew evaluation results. Even though the SIS program had many positive impacts on the participants, there's also room for improvement. During the program, some of the participants we interviewed and surveyed felt that their needs were not always met in a group setting. Participants wished for more of a one-on-one mentor guidance and to work more closely with the TAMDUAL staff, with 9 responses saying communication between instructors and students could improve. Students also explained how shadowing would allow for them to gain more hands-on experience in entrepreneurship, with 5 responses saying a shadowing component would improve their experience. Guest speakers seemed to be an effective part of the program. However, students felt disengaged when these presentations were given in French compared to Moroccan Arabic or English. Workshop location is also a source of improvement, with many students feeling that spending every workshop in the classroom made it difficult to develop the practical skills they would need to develop a business in the future. In terms of our evaluation techniques, we saw a marked lack of responses in our survey. This is likely due to the longer length of the survey. During our interviews, we often skipped questions towards the end as we found some of the questions to be repetitive. We also faced difficulties in recording our interviews and lost a few recordings. This could have been prevented if we had multiple team members record the interviews.
Based on our findings, we came up with recommendations for TAMDUAL in 3 categories: workshop recommendations, general SAS program recommendations, and program evaluation technique recommendations. During workshops, we recommend that TAMDUAL conduct more lessons focused on digital marketing, as participants were unsure of how to focus their projects on social media after the program ended. A few of the participants we interviewed also wanted a variety in location for the workshops and more hands-on experience in the activities. Based on this feedback, we recommend that TAMDUAL occasionally substitute to the traditional classroom setting with visits to local businesses for shadowing. We also got feedback that the French workshops were harder to follow, so we recommend that guest speakers speak in Moroccan Arabic or English for a more engaging experience. Our first general program structure recommendation involves increased transportation, which would allow more students to access the program. We recommend that TAMDUAL provide or assist program participants with transportation to workshops, either through providing financials or by sending a vehicle to pick them up. Some participants felt that the SIS program experience lacked individual mentorship and that their needs were not always met in a group setting. We recommend that TAMDUAL incorporate weekly check-ins between instructor and participant ranging from 30 minutes to 1 hour to hold participants accountable for their projects. Participants also felt that they only got to know people in their group. Therefore, we recommend that TAM-DUALT increase inter-program communication by mixing up groups during activities so that the participants can form a larger network. We used our evaluation experience to come up with the program evaluation technique recommendations. Since our surveys were too long and we got less responses than we hoped for, we recommend that TAM-DUALT use shorter and more succinct surveys that focus on quantitative data. To collect participant success stories and thorough feedback on the program's curriculum, we suggest that TAM-DUALT conduct exploratory interviews with a third-party interviewer to help eliminate bias and allow for honest program feedback. We also recommend consistent yearly program evaluations so that TAM-DUALT knows where to make improvements and ensure that the curriculum remains impactful. In addition, longitudinal evaluations conducted years after the program will enable TAM-DUALT to collect success stories about the effect of the program on the participants' lives. To conduct these studies, it is important that TAM-DUALT maintain long-term connections with the participants. They could achieve this by reaching out to past participants to serve as guest speakers during program workshops as a way of maintaining contact, introducing mentorship, and creating a full circle experience.
After gathering all of this data, our team developed 2 deliverables for TAM-DUALT's use. The first is an evaluation manual, which can be used as a guide to assess a program's success. This manual contains templates of both survey and interview, questions, recommendations, and examples, as well as instructions on how to code qualitative data in a codebook, and from there generate statistical data. We based the manual on our own assessment of the SIS program and applied the recommendations we found for the program evaluation techniques into the final version of our templates. The manual was also adjusted to accommodate for any of TAM-DUALT's programs, not just SIS, and any future programs that they might have. In addition to the manual, we compiled all of the raw data from our surveys and interviews and generated graphs to help TAM-DUALT visualize the information. The second deliverable that we have is a marketing video voiced in English with Arabic subtitles that displays TAM-DUALT's mission of creating young leaders by building their self-confidence to contribute to positive change in their communities. This video specifically goes into depth on TAM-DUALT's SIS program, including why there was a need for the program, what the program had to offer young students, and testimonials from past participants. TAM-DUALT can use this video for their website and social media pages, including Instagram and Facebook, to increase participant engagement. This video can also be presented to any potential new sponsors to obtain more funding for the continuation of their programs. Without any further ado, let's take a look at the video.
In Morocco, youth lack opportunities to develop skills that encourage them to become natural leaders in business and their communities. Even with a university degree, the unemployment rate amongst graduated students is still 17.1%. Since the traditional path of education doesn't set up students for success, there has to be an alternative. And that's where TAM-DUALT comes in. TAM-DUALT is a youth association aimed to create young leaders with a sense of initiative, creativity, and innovation, who will engage with and better their communities. There are a variety of programs in locations all over Morocco that arrange cultural, educational, and sports activities to help increase youth engagement in the sustainable development process of their communities. This includes programs such as Moonshot, which focused on science and technology, Compass, which works with students of vocational training industries, project holders, and artisan workers to increase their entrepreneurial mindset, and the Social Innovative Students Program, which focuses on youth entrepreneurship. The Social Innovative Students Program, also known as SIS, had over 700 high school and undergraduate students. SIS was organized in partnership with WPI with the goal of creating a generation of young entrepreneurs. Since 2018, SIS workshops have reached 16 schools in southern Morocco. These workshops teach students about social entrepreneurship and soft skills, including topics such as public speaking, creating a CV, personal branding, networking, fundraising, and pitching project ideas. Throughout the program, participants get the chance to work in teams to make their business ideas come to life, where they get experience pitching their ideas to a jury as part of a final competition. And because of this, over 30 student-made projects have been developed in the fields of education, environment, and IT. The workshops also prepared students for the job market, work opportunities, and cultural exchange programs. Let's hear what some past participants have to say.
I will never forget that what we learned from SIS program helped me a lot in my studies, especially the Canva. I discovered a lot of things in a short period of time because we had the access to whatever we want.
I accomplished my goals. I went to the university of my dreams. I visited Cambridge University.
SIS program gave me the chance to just believe that this is who I am and people are admiring my personality. I never thought I could be admired. They really boosted my self-esteem.
The people, the participants, the instructors, everything. That was the most valuable part of the program.
Skills related to how to apply to exchange programs, how to send the resume. So many skills that are really unique to this program.
I believe that we were a family.
I always feel so welcomed whenever I go there, and I cannot thank them enough for all of their support.
Would you go through the program again?
Hell yeah, I'd be a part of it. I mean, I learned a lot. I want to learn something else again. I want to meet new people and meet new people again.
Looking to get involved? For more information, reach out to TAMDUL today.
Lastly, we would like to conclude our presentation by giving a special thanks to our team at TAMDUL, Omar, Abdurrahim, and Nadia, for working with us and giving us the opportunity to contribute to such an amazing organization. To our IQP advisors, Rebecca and Mohammed, for guiding us through this long yet rewarding journey. To Ali, our local coordinator, and the translators from the King Fahd School of Translation in Morocco, for helping us navigate through the language barriers. To the SIS participants and NGO representatives for taking the time to meet with us or complete our surveys. And last but certainly not least, our Moroccan cultural partners, Sana, Iman, and Umayma, who helped us better understand the Moroccan culture and showed us that despite being from across the world, we're not all that different. Thank you. That is all we have for our presentation, and we will now be taking any questions.